Hello and welcome back to 4FS Gaming. Now I've played a lot of video games, but as you can probably tell by the content on this channel, Hunt Showdown holds a unique place in my heart. But it's not like that for everybody. Coming through early access, Hunt certainly had its fair share of bugs and issues, it had high performance demands on your system, and even up until recently it has been considered by some to be largely inaccessible to new players. So maybe you've played Hunt in the past but you've put it down, or maybe you're teetering on the decision to plunge into this fascinating but difficult game, and I'm here to help you along, with 10 reasons to play Hunt in 2021. Because despite the fact that the Dolch is still in the game, Hunt is doing pretty well. Now I want to be nice and clear, this video is not a review. I'm not going to be giving a balanced opinion on all the things that are great and all the things that are terrible about Hunt. I'm just going to be giving you, literally, the top 10 reasons why Hunt is an amazing game to play this year. And number one for me is sound. There is no other game which uses sound quite as well as Hunt Showdown. Honestly, this might be the best reason never to play Hunt at all, because after you immerse yourself in the soundscape, it kind of ruins the audio for every other first-person game that you'll ever play. This is because Hunt uses binaural recording to produce the sound files used in the game. This involves using two microphones spaced apart when recording, which allows for an extremely accurate 3D stereo sound sensation. Now say that 5 times really quickly for me. Just make sure that you're using a stereo headset for this. Surround sound doesn't quite cut it, and it won't give you the same effect. That effect is astounding. When playing the game, you can close your eyes and hear the world around you in such detail that you can navigate the positions of patrolling zombies, avoid disturbing flocks of birds, or even track the footsteps of an enemy as they creep over broken glass so accurately that you can shoot them through a wall. And the best part of Hunt is that it leans into this. Crytek knows that their sound design is top tier, and because of that, they've made it a key gameplay element. Everything you do makes sound to varying degrees. This can be detected by others, so making sound becomes a tactical dance of revealing information, either because you have to take an action, from shooting to merely vaulting over a fence or even switching weapons, or because you want to use sound to misdirect an opponent. It's certainly overwhelming at first, but when you learn to filter out the background and ambient noises of your environment and home in on the subtle sound clues that signal that danger is near, then you really feel like a hunter, or at the very least some alert prey. And when I say that no other game does this as well as Hunt Showdown, I mean it. But sound isn't enough to carry a great game on its own, and the second reason to play Hunt in 2021 is probably the main reason that I'm still playing it, and it's the unique gunplay. There are hundreds if not thousands of first-person PvP shooter games on the market. Most of these involve modern or futuristic weapons and a whole lot of gimmicky traits and abilities. And most of these don't feel that special, with the exception of Titanfall. I love Titanfall. So Hunt is essentially a period shooter. It's set close to the end of the 19th century, where the weapons include single-action pistols, lever-action repeating rifles, bolt-action rifles, single-shot marksman rifles, a very early semi-automatic pistol, you know the one I'm talking about, crossbows, and, well then there's the bomb lance. And that does exactly what you'd expect from the name. This means that the gunplay is extremely different from other shooters, and I have looked, and I've looked long and hard for something that scratches this period shooter itch. From War of Rights to Battlefield 1, I've tried plenty of games set in similar time periods, but nothing quite comes close to the speed and the pace of gunplay in Hunt. Fights can be quick with lethal headshots at most ranges, but every shot that you take puts you at risk. It either means you'll have to reload, suffer a lengthy bolting animation, you've made noise, it's expended ammunition, so positioning and tactics become important elements of every gunfight. It's hard to put this into words, but if you want to use these period weapons in a video game, you're not going to find a better opportunity than this. They feel weighty without being clumsy, and the animations have been researched and fine-tuned. The balance in terms of game meta is also pretty good. Almost all weapons are viable, and players that have been around for a few years, such as myself, probably think there are too many faster firing weapons and abilities now, such as levering your repeater, or using dual pistols, but new players can use these mechanics to level the playing field, so it's a bit of a trade-off. Now, one of the things that I see all the time on Reddit or in my comments is people asking, is this game still supported? Does it get updates? Yes, it absolutely does, and this is the third reason to play Hunt in 2021. We probably get an update every month or so that includes bug fixes, minor balances, and performance enhancements, and every 3 months there is usually something bigger. New weapons, new mechanics or game modes, or even events. Just recently, custom ammunition for a wide range of weapons and ammo types was added, just in case you want to set people on fire with your bullets. The developer support for Hunt is probably as good as it's ever been, and that support seems extremely responsive to community feedback. Speaking of updates, my fourth reason is a massive addition to the game that will arrive in the next few months, which is a third map. Hunt's maps are beautifully and intricately designed, with a focus on tactical combat across a range of compounds. From experience in early access when the second map was added, this will be an exciting time. Exploring a new environment, which Crytek have said will be more visually distinct than the current 2 maps, is going to be a lot of fun. Learning new compounds, new tactics, good traversal routes, it's something that I'm really looking forward to, and will almost certainly be my Hunt Showdown highlight of the year. Now, it's probably also going to explode the servers because there are so many people that I know will come back and play Hunt religiously when the new map is dropped, so Crytek, please make sure that that server capacity is good to go. Now, one of the biggest reasons that Hunt has struggled with player base at times over the last few years has been the steep learning curve. Often players jump in, get clubbed like baby seals, and are never heard from again. Well look, Hunt is a difficult game, but there's been a lot of work put into making it more welcoming and accessible for new players, and I'm happy to say that by most reports, this has now reached a point where the new player onboarding actually works pretty well. This includes an array of offline training and trials modes where you can try things out and actually practice shooting, moving, and fighting monsters without getting your head blown off by an experienced player. It also includes plenty of systems to provide you with competitive gear and cash, even if you keep losing hunters over and over again in the bounty hunt game mode. The recent capstone of these efforts is a button allowing you to restrict your games to skill-based matchmaking, where you will only be matched against players with a similar skill or elo level to your team. Now, a lot of people still think that KD or prestige rank is a proxy for skill, but Hunt actually uses elo rating exclusively for matchmaking. Now, there are a lot of really good reasons for this, and maybe I'll go through them in another video, or feel free to ask how it all works in the comments below. So it's a much more friendly swamp out there. As a new or inexperienced player, you are less likely to get blasted match after match all night long, and more likely to find your feet. To be completely honest, I was very concerned when this feature was added. I thought it would decrease player counts in lobbies in my games, leading to boring, empty matches. But after playing for about a month now since this update, I really haven't had this experience at all, and my fears were apparently unfounded. Now that's my anecdotal experience, of course. The good news is that my sixth reason to play Hunt still stands after these changes, and that is that Hunt still has a very high skill ceiling. This is a game that you can get good at and learn to master, and I'm by no means amazing at the gunplay, movement and tactics in Hunt. There's still a lot for even me to learn. If you want to play a game you can get good at, and I mean really good at it, then Hunt still provides that in spades. And if you wanted to learn a whole lot of overly technical information about the game, such as how shotgun spreads work, the calculations for damage over range, and other superfluous details, well, I've got you covered on this channel. So another thing that is a bit different now than it was 2 years ago, and makes Hunt a pleasure to play, is the range and variety of the arsenal. Hunt has a lot of weapons now, and a lot of variants for those weapons. Single shot rifles, do you want a scope with that? Or maybe a bayonet? Bolt action rifles that fire at different speeds with different sights. Lever action repeaters, okay, look, here's one with a suppressor. Shotguns galore, single shot, check, double barrel, check, pump action, check, semi-auto, that's there, and now there's also a repeating shotgun as well. Single action pistols, double action pistols, pistols that shoot rifle rounds, pistols that have been turned into carbines, pistols that have a shotgun in the middle of them. There's elephant guns, guns with bits sawn off them, crossbows, small crossbows, swords, knives, a primitive automatic machine gun that will get you killed. Hunt has something for just about everyone at this point. Especially now you can customize the ammo that you equip to each weapon as well. Shotgun with slugs, or maybe dragon's breath rounds? Poison people with a rifle shot? Why not? And the great thing is, all of the attachments to weapons and the different ways to get custom ammo, it doesn't just upgrade your weapons, there's always a trade-off. These are side grades, they make your weapon do things differently, not necessarily better, which is really clever game design. The gear is just as diverse. Barbed wire bombs, makeshift explosive traps, poison traps, decoys, fake explosives, real explosives, a jar with bees inside it. Yeah, all of that stuff is there, and you can use it to produce some really creative loadouts. And this range and diversity brings me to the 8th reason to play Hunt Showdown this year. It still, and probably more than ever, supports a wide range of playstyles and strategies. Hunt is a PvP shooter, but it's set in a sandbox. Your objective is to get the bounty and escape, but exactly how you do this is up to you. Maybe you rush the boss, kill it, and lock down that lair with defenses. Maybe you're a solo player who skirts around the edges of larger fights with a scoped rifle and picks off enemies one by one. Maybe you play aggressively, storming compounds and pushing players with a versatile array of weapons. You could use traps, decoys, and the environment to misdirect and distract enemies while you reposition or swoop in for the kill. There are advantages and disadvantages to every playstyle in Hunt, but they are all legitimate. There is enough balancing so that a particular playstyle isn't unfair or cheap. People might not like campers, but they are usually the easiest enemies to kill because they don't move away from your explosives. That sniper that stays 200 meters away might be very difficult to push and kill if they keep retreating, but it also means that you can easily grab the objective without them being able to stop you. This amount of freedom really increases variety. Every fight in Hunt is different. Every match plays out in a unique way. This is what keeps it so fresh. And now for number 9. So you're thinking of picking up Hunt. You look at the Steam store page and you see this. DLC as far as the eye can see. It says that they give you characters and weapons, and you don't like it at all. How much of this game are you going to miss out on unless you fork out for all this extra DLC? Well, fortunately, the answer is nothing meaningful. Hunt has a very positive monetization model in my opinion. All of the DLC and any content purchased through the in-game premium currency is purely cosmetic, and Hunt is very generous with doling out this premium currency in-game through matches, so everyone will be able to afford a handful of cool skins for both characters and weapons the more they play. It even gives you a veritable mountain of blood bonds for doing the training missions at the start that take you about 20 minutes. The message is that if you buy the base game, you will not miss out on anything meaningful at all in terms of content by avoiding that DLC. It simply doesn't matter, like at all. That being said, some of the skins that you can get for DLC are actually really cool, so if you really like Hunt and you're playing a lot of it, you might then think, hey, that's really awesome, I'm getting a lot out of this game, maybe I'll buy that cosmetic pack. Which is honestly how things should work in games. The skins and cosmetics are also largely period appropriate, they're subdued, there's no bright pink rifle skins or chrome characters here, and it's nice to see that in the current era of increasingly absurd and immersion-breaking in-game cosmetics. And now on to my final reason to play Hunt in 2021. It's the community. Hunt's player base has never been enormous, but it has been very stable, and growing consistently. This game does have legs. It's not going to die in 2 months. The community for the most part is great. Join the Discord, get involved, there are plenty of experienced hunters willing to give advice and show new players the ropes, and there's plenty of community events as well, and many content creators have their own communities where they are super eager to share tips and tricks for this game. Even a quick glance at the Steam charts indicated how in 2021, this is a good year for Hunt. Just imagine how this is going to look when the new map drops. Servers permitting, of course. Now, Hunt still has its issues, it's still a demanding game in terms of performance, the console versions appear to have some technical updates that need to happen, and I'd love to see Crytek move forward on this topic or at least release some information, and every patch there's a handful of new bugs. Most of them are quite entertaining and get fixed very, very quickly in a number of days. And yes, Hunt is still hard. It's a challenging game. It makes you think, and it makes you work for your bounty and work for your kills. This game does not hand things to you on a silver platter, but this makes any victory that much more sweet. So it's still certainly not a game for everyone, but it might just be a game for you, even if it wasn't quite your cup of tea on release. Of course, if you'd like to give Hunt a go for the first time, you can always head over to the Crytek store and use my code 4FS to get a 10% discount on the Steam key, and this now also applies to the latest DLC and any future DLC also. Thank you very much for watching, and I certainly hope to see you out there in the bayou.